Thank you for inviting me. I'm very pleased to speak today about my research. And I'm going to speak about social learning biases in white vervet monkeys, so what I studied during my postdoc. So when learning a new task, for example, how to use a novel tool, an individual may basically learn in two ways. So he might learn by himself through experience and trial and error, and this is what we call individual or asocial learning. And he might learn from others by observing or interacting with others or their products, and this is what we call social learning. And both kinds of learning have costs and benefits. For example, individual learning can be trustworthy because the individual collected the information by himself, but it's also time consuming. And conversely, social learning can be a more rapid and more efficient way to acquire information, but it doesn't guarantee success because social information can be outdated, for example. And theoretical models predict that social learning shouldn't be used in an indiscriminate manner, but should be selective and driven by what some scholars have called social learning strategies or biases. So these biases or strategies, and I will use both terms, represent flexible rules that specify when, how, and from whom individuals should use social information under suitable circumstances. And these biases are important because they can generate behavioral traditions and influence the evolution of culture. And the term strategy doesn't imply that these transmission biases necessarily operate consciously. So there is no assumption regarding the psychological mechanisms implied. And I'm using here the term copy as a synonym for socially learned. So it doesn't imply neither that individuals are imitating others. And these biases may also change through development, and several biases may operate simultaneously. So these social learning biases can be of different kinds. Content biases focus on the content of the behavior. So individuals may have a preference for the behavior with higher payoff, for example. And context biases split into frequency-dependent biases and individual-based biases. So for example, rare behavior or the majority of individuals, which is also called conformity, may be adopted. But individuals may also learn from specific individuals, for example, individuals from the same family or older individuals, individuals of the same sex or higher ranker, for example. And these biases have been found to be quite widespread within the animal kingdom. So some of these biases have been investigated in wild vervet monkeys. So vervet monkeys live in multi-male, multi-female social groups. So they have many opportunities to socially learn from various conspecific. And in this species, females remain in their natal group all their life, while males disperse multiple times to new groups. And they are also non-endangered, so it's possible to run field experiments involving food. So for all these reasons, they are really good model to study knowledge flow. And previous field experiments reported a bias towards alpha females or towards higher payoff for the males, and also conformity bias. However, in these studies, some demonstrators have been trained to display specific behavior, and the different kind of biases have been tested separately. So we don't precisely know whether several biases may be at stake simultaneously, and what is actually the weight of each strategy. So the first objective of my project was to investigate whether new foraging techniques spread via social transmission in vervet monkeys. And for this, I ran 2 open diffusion experiments involving new foraging techniques. So first, an experiment involving a box, the box that you can see here, containing a food reward. And in the second experiment, I just provided monkeys with a novel unknown food, unshelled peanuts. And the second objective of my project was to test for the typical pathway of such social transmission. And so we tested for individual-based biases in both experiments, and also for payoff and frequency-dependent biases in the peanuts experiment. So I conducted this experiment in 2 groups of white vervet monkeys within the Inkavu Vervet project, which is directed by Erika van de Waal, and that takes place in a private game reserve in KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa. So I use this box that could be opened in 2 different ways to access to a small piece of apple. So the drawer can be pulled, or the lid on the top of the box could be lifted. And 8 boxes were simultaneously offered to the monkeys at 2 locations, just to prevent monopolization of a single box by a dominant individual. And subjects were free to interact with the boxes, and that could be opened in both ways. So you can see here on these pictures, on the left, one individual using the lift technique, and on the right, another one using the pull technique. So I collaborated with Will Hopit to use a model fitting approach called network-based diffusion analysis to analyze the data. And this statistical method takes into account the order of acquisition of the box opening technique. So it really focuses on the first learning event for each individual. And the underlying hypothesis is that the rate of social transmission between individuals is proportional to the network connection between them. So which means that the more individuals are observing each other, the more they have learning opportunities from each other. And NBDA basically aims to answer 2 questions. Is social transmission occurring? And which are the typical pathway of such social transmission? So we extracted a dynamic observation network from the video records of the experiment. So each time one individual was opening a box, we recorded who was attending. So we precisely know who observed whom doing what. And in NBDA, we included a multiple network to test whether individuals socially learn from females, or from males, or from older individuals, and so on. And so this allowed us to assess the weight of each transmission in a single analysis. So we built models to test whether the dynamic observation network predicted the order of acquisition of the box opening technique. And we compared these models to an asocial model. And so we found that the models that fitted better to our data was a model with social transmission, meaning that individuals were more likely to learn the technique used by the individuals they watched. So basically observing the lift technique makes individuals more likely to first learn the lift technique. And to test for the typical pathway of social transmission, we inputted multiple networks in the models to test simultaneously and to assess the weight of each strategy. So we fitted models for different pathways in which the rate of transmission differ between different classes of individuals. So for example, for the rank pathway, in one model, the transmission rate was greater from higher ranker to lower ranker, and conversely in another model. And in a third model, there was no difference in transmission rate between higher ranker and lower ranker. And we basically follow the same logic for the sex, skin, and age pathway. And we found a stronger support for a transmission occurring from higher ranker to lower ranker, which is consistent with the strategy learned from higher ranker. And we found no strong evidence for the other kind of pathway. And I will discuss a bit more these results at the end of my talk. So the second open diffusion experiment I ran consisted in offering containers filled with noble unknown food, so unshelled peanuts, And even if it's surprising, monkeys don't spontaneously eat peanuts because they are quite neophobic and they don't find peanuts in their natural environment. So that they really need to learn that's something good to eat. So we described 3 different techniques used by monkeys to extract the peanuts from their shell. So you can see here the crack with hand technique. So the monkey just grab one peanut and crack it with its hand. The second technique was crack with mouth from the top of the peanut. So the monkey grab one peanut and crack it as you can see here on the picture. And the third technique was slightly different. It's crack with mouth from the side of the peanut this time. So I collaborated with Brendan Barrett, a specialist of Bayesian statistics, to use another modeling approach called experience-weighted attraction models to analyze our data. And compared to NBDA, this modeling approach analyzes the whole behavioral sequence for each individual and not only the initial spread of the behavior. So the aim was to test whether and how the peanuts opening technique spread once the technique was learned. So in the algorithm, the probability of choosing a technique depends on recent and past personal experience, if the behavior was successful or not. So this is what we call payoff, and social information associated with the technique. So the frequency of the behavior in the group, the observed probability of success of the behavior in the group, and also the cues of the demonstrator, so the rank, the sex, and the kin. And this probability is updated every 20 minutes based on the most recently experienced payoff. So that is to say how a technique was successful and the memory of previous experiences. So just to illustrate it, imagine a 3-sided die, and each side corresponds to one of the 3 techniques that a monkey will display. And the probability that an individual will choose a technique, or it's like a roll a die, is dynamic and changes as a function of the social information he had observed and also his recent past experiences. So we basically fitted 8 different models, or it's like we rolled 8 different dice to see which one best predicted the time series of all individuals' behavior. So each model integrates individual learning and one social learning strategy. So payoff bias, rank bias, frequency-dependent bias, and so on. And one is only individual learning. And we also fitted a global model, including individual learning with all other kind of social learning strategies. So we used multimodal inference, consisting in ranking the different models instead of selecting a single best model. And we found that the global model was, so the one which includes all kind of biases with individual learning, was the one predicting the best all individuals in the population. So this means that individuals differ in the social learning strategies they use, or that they integrate multiple kind of strategies with individual learning. And you can see on this figure, so here you have all the individuals and the date of the experiment. And so this is a predictions of the global model for one group. So bigger is a point, higher is the probability of one individual displaying a technique, depending on its own experience and observation of others. And you can see here that the model predicted that the crack with the mouse from the side technique, which is displayed here in purple, will be the technique the most used in the group. And this is actually what we observed. And we also found that the payoff bias and rank bias were the 2 most important biases in predicting the behavior. So these results show that payoff and rank-based social learning are responsible for the development of individuals' preference for peanuts opening technique. So just to conclude on these experiments, we have shown that with the box experiment that vervet monkeys socially learn how to acquire a new behavior and that their learning was biased towards higher ranker. And this dominance bias suggests that the prestige bias which is found in humans is deeply anchored in the evolutive roots we share with primates. And with the peanuts experiment, we have shown that monkeys maintain behavioral preference through the use of combination of individual learning with social learning biased towards higher payoff and higher ranker as well. So all this suggests that social learning is not only important for the acquisition of a new behavior, but also for the maintenance of behavioral preference. And even when the behavior is relatively simple, such as peanuts processing technique. So just to conclude, by using open diffusion experiment, mimicking what would happen in natural situations, with dynamic observation network and modeling approach that consider exactly what and whom individuals had observed prior and after learning a task, we'll be able to better understand the weight of different social learning strategies and along with the interplay between individual and social learning, which makes social learning adaptive and efficient. So thank you very much for your attention. I also want to thank my collaborators, my funders, and all the people who helped me in the field.
Thank you, Charlotte. Wait, it was great. I'm sorry because I had with some of these technical problems, so I missed half of your presentation. But let me see if I can check the Q&As. I guess we have one question, and Carline is asking whether you could elaborate a bit on what you mean by payoff social learning.
Sorry, you probably explained it, but it's very difficult to concentrate with the online. So please, could you explain again?
Yeah, so we define payoff as the mean observed probability of technique being successful in the previous 20 minutes. So we cut our observation in time windows of 20 minutes. And these observed payoff are unique to each individual because each individual observed different individuals and different techniques, and each technique was not successful in the way that we also recorded the attempt. So when they tried to open the peanuts and to extract the peanuts from their shell, but they didn't succeed, or when they were successful. So
do I understand it correctly? It's the payoff of the other individual they observed, right?
Yeah,
or is it sure. Their own? It's not their own payoff, right? It's
no.
Okay.
So there is a payoff they observed, but there is also their own experience in extracting themselves peanuts. So if they were successful or not in extracting peanuts and with which technique.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'm sorry, we're running quite late, so I'll stop here.